Good evening and welcome to a Monday Night Live, which I believe is a very special one. It's the first day of a new era in our wonderful game of having 6 Grand Slam winners.
Just going to turn your mic on and off again. Excuse me.
Are we good?
Yep.
Are we good?
Cool. I think we're good.
Let's go again. Good evening. Welcome to a Monday Night Live. This is the first Monday Night Live in a new era of our wonderful game. We now have 6 Grand Slam winners of all of the majors, which is something I think needs recognising. So let's have a little round of applause for Rory McIlroy. Well, it, I think, kept us all up until the early hours of last evening. Crikey, I mean, we're going to talk at length about this, but I think it never was going to be an easy run. From the first day when he chipped into the water, to coming back on Friday, to then Saturday running away with it to a certain degree, and then making a Horlicks on the first. However you look at it, Rory, ever since winning his last major 11 years ago, has had a little bit of a monkey on his back. He's dealt with pressure, not in the best manner, purely because of how good he is. But he got over the line to the detriment of Justin Rose, which I think Justin's had a bit of a tough time. And with Sergio, everyone wanted Sergio to win at that moment in time. Now everybody wanted Rory to win at that moment in time. So I think hearts go out to Justin Rose. What was the one takeaway to start with on the final round of Rory's?
I think for Rory yesterday was the difference in the way he played yesterday was that when it could have gone and did go sideways, I mean, that shot on 13 was rank, quite frankly, that approach shot. He'd done all the hard work and then hit it the one place you can't go, having looked so in control. That would have derailed him any other time. That shot, not the first, I think the first was fine, but that shot on 13 and then bogeying 14, I think any other year, he goes down the toilet and Rosie wins. The fact that he bounced back, that he talked about the resilience earlier in the week, and I think the way he was able to turn it around, I think that was something you wouldn't have seen before this year.
I think the opening round on Thursday, it going sideways on him, and then coming back with 66. I think for me, it felt like that. I mean, we were obviously talking on our work chat. I said after shooting 66 on Saturday, this is a done deal. I saw him actually running away from it. Didn't go quite to plan, but he did go ahead and win it. But I think that 66 felt to me like that was the redemption that he needed to see, I can make a hiccup and I can still come back, and he did that super well. I think Paul McGinley, I mean, didn't say that much that was great and worth listening to, Paul McGinley, on the weekend. But what Paul McGinley did say was you've sort of seen a collection of the 11 years of Rory's golf in 18 holes, right? I mean, the highs and lows. I mean, the guy has aged significantly yesterday and over the last 11 years.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it, how it's taken him this long to be able to deal with the pressure of it, the Grand Slam. Augusta as a course lends itself to highs and lows and its risk reward, and you either soar or you fall off a cliff. And as you say, that was literally like 2011 was in there. The great last round of, was it a couple of years back, was in there. It was just his game in a nutshell. When he's going for it, he's unstoppable. When he's trying not to screw it up, he's horrendous. It's like watching England play football and going 1-0 ahead. You know we're going to lose. And I think, going back to what he said, for him to turn it around, to do what he did on 15, 16, 17, I think now he's free of all of that burden. He's got nothing to prove. Not that he didn't have anything to prove before, but he's now got it. He's checked that box in. He's going 4 or 5 more, I think.
It was the first time where I feel like the golfing world has been clinging hold of Tiger Woods for such a long time. I mean, we know that Tiger has been done since he won the Masters last time round. It was 2019.
2019, yeah.
We've been clinging on to, is he going to come back? I think for the first time, now that Rory's got the Grand Slam and you saw his name up against the other greats, I think we can truly put to bed that Rory is the next generation or the generational icon of our sport. Scotty Scheffler's having his time in the sun, he's playing great, but I think Rory is now owning that space as being the guy that's playing the best golf. And I was really pleased that he turned over DeChambeau. I think there was, for me, because I've been frustrated by Rory. I'm only not his fan because he frustrates me because some of the things he says, decisions he makes, and that kind of thing. Got over the line. I was in tears last night watching that golf, in the Butler cabin, because there's so much emotion there, and it's so lovely to see these guys go ahead and do it. But when you see people like DeChambeau, that a bit of swashbuckling hero, and they haven't got the weight of the game on their shoulders in the way Rory has. Because in the press conference, on the Saturday night, one of the ladies asked Bryson, "What are you going to be doing tonight?" And the interview with Rory was, "I'm going to stay away from my phone. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And then Bryson would say, "Well, I'm definitely not going to stay away from my phone. I love all that and all this." Everyone does it differently, but I think when you know what Rory's been through, how winning 3 different majors and knowing every time you turn up to the 4th one, you're getting asked the question.
On the same course as well.
Absolutely, not even different courses.
It's not like any other major where you're going to different venues. You haven't got, the irony. If I'm right, when he capitulated in 2011, he was 4 ahead, stood in the 10th tee.
Yes.
He was 4 ahead, stood in the 10th tee last night.
No.
And
golf does that to you, right?
No other course does that to you, because you're not there every year with that course looking at you going, I've had you the last 13 years, 14 years. And I think that's why it was such a big deal.
100%.
Such a big deal. But it just felt like the contrast between Rory and Bryson, watching Saturday and watching the starter play on Sunday, but more from Saturday's play, I always felt that Bryson wouldn't keep going because he wasn't in control of his golf ball. He had too many shots leaking left. He was getting up and down like God. But that on final Sunday, Augusta stops. If you're out of control of your golf ball, 11, perfect example. 10, he nearly missed the green left. He just had the lefts going, and you knew from the first tee shot. So that tee shot went. Rory's was a great swing. It was just a yard short to carry it, but it was lasered at it, and Rory was in control of his shots and in control of the flight. And Bryson wasn't. So I always felt that Bryson wasn't going to be the one to challenge him on the Sunday.
I agree with that. I agree.
But 10 birdies by Rosie is impressive.
But you watching Rory. I mean, we're chatting on our group chat. It was Mark, and we had a friends chat. Chat's going on all over the place. We were talking about when Rory hit 3 wood off of the 13th tee. I said, he's laying this up. And my pal said, oh, no, he's going to go for it. He's laid it up. Laid it up 83 yards. And
probably further left than he intended as well.
And to then stick it in the drink, that is just what Rory is all about, isn't it? On major Sunday.
And that's the frustration you're talking about. We just watched the coverage of Reed go long, screw it back to 6 foot and 83 putted. But he's got the whole green left. He's got 10 yards left of that pin that he can go 10 yards long and spin it, and it's coming back.
And he had a 3-shot lead at this moment in time, right?
4 of that. Still 4, 3, 4?
Yeah.
Either way, he's still, and
the only place you can't hit it.
He went right to the pin. I know, I've never experienced any pressure like that in my entire life. But
he's pretty good.
I don't think I put this on our chat. That was the single worst shot under those circumstances I've ever seen.
Yeah, outrageous.
And then he did what he did on the 15th, which is one of the best shots the game has ever seen. But given the circumstances.
I did a video today. of what we can learn from the wedge shot on 13
Yeah.
and the 5 iron. I think you saw me filming it.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I get animated. But that 15th shot is just all Rory. You know, aiming it down the right,
Talent.
wanging it around, you know, big swooping hook. That is all Rory.
Yeah.
But the 84 yarder that's got a little bit of nerves in it, the slow speed, that I think it just goes to show that if you're your club champs this year, and you're standing there and you see your best golfer in your club have an 80-yard pitch shot and he misses the green, understand that the best player in the world, the best player of our generation, Rory, from 120 yards out the middle of the fairway with a half or three-quarter 50-degree wedge going into the last, can block it.
Yeah, any place you could miss it.
Block it like 20. I mean, it's 20 yards right with a three-quarter shot.
But having stuck a hooked, whatever it was, 5, 6, 7, whatever it was on 15, that's moved 30 yards in the air. He stuck that to 7 or 8.
Over soup.
He's stuck. 16 was a really tough shot.
Under talked about.
Under pressure. That was a tiny target. He couldn't have placed it better.
Yeah.
Literally within 3 feet of where he's aiming. He stuck it to that on 17. And I actually said done deal. So another chap, our friend Sam, who's in F1, we were messaging as well. And I was like, that's game over. And he went, this is Rory. And I'm like, that's a good point. But
isn't it sad that we say that, though?
It's a fractional, it's a simple wedge shot.
I know.
However,
he's got the Grand Slam.
He's got the Grand Slam on the line. And then it's not simple.
And that's why when you separate Rory away, when going back to the Bryson chat, until Bryson knows what it takes to get the Grand Slam and keep on having to repeat, get that fourth major. I just can't. It's such an ordeal, isn't it, for these guys to get over the line to win the 4? Amazing.
Bad not getting one. But
Absolutely.
it goes back to the pressure that it shows a bit how good Nicholas Tiger were at dealing with that expectation and pressure every year. Well, they're going to get another one. They're going to get another one. They're going to get another one. And and I think you kind of go, well, okay, for the way they dealt with that as well, absolute class. And that shows that they are still that cut above where Rory is. Yeah.
Well, we thought we'd give that a good old bashing. I'm sure that there'll be some comments on the chat. We can talk about that all night, but we'll get into our usual show. We've got the discs as usual here and James behind. So we'll always want to have your questions. We've got a few coming on through by the looks of things. If you've not watched this before, Simon does the hitting, I do the asking, golf coaching, custom fitting.
Yeah.
James has got all sorts of applause and wow going on. I'm sure he'll throw that in as we go on. He's desperate to use it. So we'll kick ourselves off with Nanar. Got fitted for GT3 8 degrees, hazardous black Gen 5 70TX. Can snag a used TSI 3 8 degrees hazardous black RDX 70TX for 300 less. Similar enough for the money?
TSI off centre is not going to be as good. Lose a little bit more ball speed out the heel. It'll spin up a little bit more. The consistency across the face will be better. TSR was a bit better than TSI, and GT is a little bit better than TSR. So the 2 generational difference, you will off centre definitely see a difference. There will be a bit of a difference, but £300 is £300. So, however, if you've hit GT3 and that shaft and it's worked really well, then if it's really good and the numbers are great and they're hard to beat, then that then could last you a long time. So if you've not hit the other combo, then there is a gamble in that. And is it worth paying that bit more now and having it last longer? If you know it works really well, then that's the way up for you.
Niels Axelson, is everyone, nice to have you with us, Niels, is everyone still completely wrecked after the roller coaster journey that was the Masters yesterday? Absolutely.
I think my heart rate's just about calmed down.
Yeah, I'm just sleep deprived. I mean, it's a young man's game staying up at midnight, isn't it?
The adrenaline. Even my wife woke up and was like, has Rory won yet? And I was like, no, he's one ahead playing the last. She was like, what?
Oh, no. Terrible.
Even she watched the last bit as well. That was impressive.
The Yorkshire Blade, can you explain what 5.0, 5.5 and 6.0 mean on Project X shafts, please?
So that relates to the frequency. So rifle, sort of Brunswick and the rifle shafts are gauge their stiffness on a cycles per minute plotted against length. So essentially, the way you measure the cycles per minute is you clamp the grip end, the butt end of the shaft, and put a mass on the end, oscillate it, and depending on the clamp length, that will change the cycles per minute, the CPM number, which then there's a graph that you plot the CPM, cycles per minute, against the length, and that gives you a frequency of 5.1, 5.3, 7.2. But essentially, like a Diamond Gold R300 is 4.5, an S300 is 5.7, 5.8, an X100 is about 6.5. So broadly speaking, 4.5 to 5.0 is a reg, 5 to 5.5 is a sort of firm, 5.5 to 6 is a stiff, 6 to 6.5 I would call firm, sort of strong, and then 6.5 up is definitely an X.
Papa B, hello again, boys. Hello, Papa B. Reflecting on history today, and wonder if you think the instruction books of my blades and persimmon youth, like Hogan's 5 Lessons, still make sense in the modern equipment swing area. I think you are going to get any golf book, any golf instruction book work for someone. So absolutely. With all of the modern sports science, it helps some, doesn't help others. If it was a hard and fast rule, all you'd need to do is just go and find the best information, whatever that might be, and you'd be a much better player. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So stick with the Hogan books, stick with all of the bygone era advice, the Harvey Pennick books, and enjoy them for what they are. That would be my say. Bama number 1. Good evening, gents. For Stuart, Rory hit that high sweeping draw on 15, I think. Yes, he did. So how do you hit that high draw? Well,
it's just what you wanted to. Just hit me up.
That high sweeping.
Just one bit that was so impressive with that was you've got a lot of face rotation, so the loft's changing, the spin's changing, and yet the distance control. Epic.
Yeah, so I think I lean on what Tiger said a little while ago, and I made reference to it here. He made 1,000 contacts a day. 1,000 contacts with a golf ball on a club face, whether it's chipping, putting, driving, whatever it might be. When you've got that many reps in the bag every single day, that ball feels like it contacts the face so slowly, and you've got all of the time in the world. And I just think that you can feel another 5 yards. You know, when you were playing full time, you know, Nick's a great player, Mark's a good player. When you're playing along for a lot, or you've been playing a long time and you're playing a lot, when you're on your game, it feels like I could hit it a yard past it or a yard short, 3 yards. So I'm about to demonstrate a high draw, but Nick's giving me the nod. When you play this high draw, I can give you the mechanics of it, but what Rory's got is speed. He's got incredible skill, and the nerve at that moment. I just think he was all in.
Yeah,
this is all in.
Shit or bust.
Yeah,
I'm winning this thing here.
Absolutely,
and you know what? He damn well has practiced that shot as well.
Yeah, and it was like, get mad, you mother. Do you know what I mean? Get mad. Like, stop.
Well, they said at the beginning of the coverage,
mad,
when he gets kind of up emotionally, his level goes. It's just if the thing goes over the top, like he did with Reed at the Ryder Cup at Hazeltine, it actually then went against him. But when he's up, he's normally flying from a performance point of view.
So high draw. Well, high draw is always the worst shot in the bag, because when you're trying to get flight, you need a light angle of attack. And if you've got a light angle of attack with a long iron, that's not that easy. If you want even more flight, because you've now got a face that's closed, because a face that's closed is taking more loft off, then you've got to have even less angle of attack. So it's a tricky one. So for me, I'm always pushing the ball further forwards in the stance. It's so easy when you're thinking about hitting a high one, of starting to sit back. Now, if you've got the ball forwards and you're thinking about trying to get it flighted, that's when the old drop kick comes in. So watch out for that one when I hit it. But what we're looking for is a golf club that feels like it's going to start to swing past the handle down through strike. Remember, the lie's got to be super good for this. Got to make sure that the ball is far enough forwards, but as the club head is swinging, you then got to make sure that the club face is closing. So on the way back, you can either shut the face down a little bit, you could grip it a little bit stronger at address. I wouldn't start thinking about trying to whip the nose over it, because that can end up in a bit of a quack hook. That's the last thing you want. But most importantly, you've got to give yourself enough room to the right. If you've got it, giving yourself enough room to the right, now it feels like you can really swing around yourself. So I'm going to try and aim sort of about a foot left of the right edge of the screen. Ball is forwards in my stance. I'm now going to feel like the golf club is going to pass me without feeling like I'm going to sit back. And hopefully Simon's 5-iron is going to allow me to hit a high draw. Oh, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. So there's a bit of a draw. I don't think I've got too much more height than that. You can see my angle of attack was 1.4 up. So there was the up strike that's going to give me the launch. I've got a face to path that's closed at 2.6. There's the draw. And my 5-iron went 195 yards. I'll take that. Yeah.
Very nice.
Hopefully that gave you some insight into how to hit a high draw. Unfortunately, I didn't win $4.5 million doing it. That's a shame. That's a shame. Pro V1 David, well done David. Well done Rory, but also sad to see Rosie runner-up once again. What an exciting finish to the 2025 Masters European Golf in a good place. USA Ryder Cup, here we come, absolutely. Mr. Titleist, evening guys, what a Masters that was. I got 3 hours sleep last night before work. Absolutely buzzing for Rory. Well played, Justin, also. No question from me tonight, so I'm just relaxing and watching. Well, it's great to have you with us, and thank you for your comments. Gareth Jones, been using a DG120 X100, but fly quite high fade. So recently testing the KBS C-Taper 120S and hitting it lower. He prefers a lower flight, but also draw left flight. Does that sound correct?
So the left to right, right to left will be more to do with, so the C-Taper, go back half a sentence, the Dynamic Gold 120s are relatively tip balanced. The C-Taper 120s are even more tip balanced. So the profile of the shaft isn't going to change shot shape, but how the club works around you will change your release pattern and therefore the rotation rate of the club face. In principle, yeah, the C-Tapers should be a little bit lower flight. You're not going to see, from the way it bends, the way the shaft bends, the Dynamic Gold 120 up there and the C-Taper 120 down there. It will make a slight change to launch and spin, but if it's getting your rate of closure more, you're shutting the face down more, then that's going to bring spin down and flight down more than how the shaft bends. But yeah, ultimately, if it's working for you, great. But yeah, in principle, what the flight's doing and how the shaft's designed makes sense.
When Simon Muggleton, when testing, it's the late nights. It's the late nights. I'm telling you, I'm a 9:30 guy. I'm not a midnight 1 o'clock.
It's also been the last 4 nights, pretty much.
I know, 4 in a row. 4 in a row. When testing, I was between 2 shafts: a regular 60-gram Denali Blue and a 50-gram Denali Red. Does weight change in driver shaft sometimes after what flex you require? Do weight changes in driver shaft sometimes alter with what flex you require?
Yes. So if you're going between let's say the 50 and the 60, the same model, the 60 will play stiffer 90% of the time in the reg than the 50 in the reg, because there's more material, structurally it's more rigid. So normally if you're going down in weight, you'd often, to keep some of the feel of the stability of the shaft, if you're used to the heavier weight, you might play up a little bit in flex. Or if you're used to the lighter, softer feeling shaft, you go up in weight, you might drop flex a little bit so it doesn't feel too harsh. That's more from a feel point of view. You won't see huge differences in flight as a result of it, but it might be a more familiar feedback for you from the shaft and from the club itself.
If you are new to a Monday Night Live, we do this every week, 6 p.m. Simon and I come on here and give you some information that might be useful. So do check us out.
Only might, though.
Only might. And we hit some shots. Well, Simon does, really. I do all the heckling. James is behind the scenes on the cameras and doing all the editing. Do give us a like and a share. if you haven't seen us before, and maybe bring a pal along too. That would be really appreciated. And if you are familiar, this is me trying to search for the questions. Martin Williams, hi, the QI35 driver has a 13 gram and a 3 gram weight. What is your thoughts on having it with 2 8-gram weights? And if possible, could you hit them, please?
I'll double check whether we've got enough of the 8s to hit them. So what you're doing by moderating 3 and 13, you're maximising how far you're moving the weight front and back by having a 10 gram differential. If you go 8 and 8, then there's just you're moving the CG less fast, so you're going to lessen how much you're affecting the spin and the stability. So that's really all you're doing. The CG doesn't move quite as far in the head. Centre of gravity doesn't move quite as far back or forward by using less of a differential in weight. I'll see if I've got the 8s. So.
Very good. Niels Axton says, James, oh please do enable the chipmunk voices. Don't you dare. Norwegian Warhound, we haven't had you on for ages. Was curious if you know if the Srixon Z Forged 2 blade irons were going to be replaced this year. Thinking of a combo set, maybe in my future, and like their lineup. Take care, Norwegian Warhound.
Don't believe so.
Don't believe so. Good news for all of you Srixon guys. Mike T, as a natural drawer of the golf ball, you lucky thing. Inside path and closed face. What's a good feeling to hit a fade? On the way back, add some cup in your left wrist. Would be one way. So you can do it a few ways actually. If you want to hit a fade, get the club face, open it by 10 degrees, take your grip, then line the face back to straight, then aim yourself to the left, make a swing, and then you'll see the golf ball fade. If you want to see it draw, take the club face, close the face, grip the club, turn it back to straight, set yourself up to the ball, aim to the right, now swing, and you'll hit a draw. Bending the ball right to left or left to right is really very easy. Just realign the face at the start, aim left or right, depending on the bend you want to see, and the ball will take care of the rest. So that would be the easiest way. One more way to create a fade. Take your grip, and this cup feeling here, this is what you want to encourage on the way back. So instead of all you bowers of the golf grip out there on the way back, add the cup in. Once again, aim down the left, add the cup as you go back, then swing through. And then the golf ball will once again, with your normal grip, will have a little fade on it. And the more you cup it, the more it fades. Less you cup it, less it fades.
So I haven't got enough of the 8 grams to even them out because we're getting enough of them to do multiples because the 8s are not standard issue, and we're still waiting to get some extra packs of the weights through. But what I can do is move the weight front and back and at least show what difference that actually makes.
Very good.
He says having not made a swing today.
Well, that's very unlike you, Simon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Very unlike you. But you have just come back from a couple of days away golfing, haven't you?
I have done, yeah.
How did you play?
Down at Raw St George's and Prince's, sadly, rather than Deal, which meant that we got knocked out in the first round as usual. So there's a tournament called the Halford Hewitt, which is a public school tournament where 64 schools play, or old boys societies play, and it's 5 pairs per team, scratch foursomes, match play.
Very good.
So we sadly lost in the first round of both the plate and the main. We had tough. Repton are solid in the first round, very consistent, and we got Loretto who won 3 out of 4.
And is there the plate? You go into a plate, right, which is the sort of the second half of it.
Yeah, and then it's down to 3 pairs each. But personally, very successful. Won both the matches.
Oh, right.
The team sadly lost 3-2 and then 2-1.
Right. Oh, but you don't mind as long as you do okay.
But it was dry.
Right.
Warm, dry, lovely.
Yeah, nice.
Sandwich and great Nick got the amateur there this year.
Yeah. The British Amateur.
Yeah.
Are they? Okay.
So yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, it's almost like June weather already down there. It's been so dry.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you can get yourself down there, it'd be great fun this year. So we've got weight back, the 13 gram at the back to start with. And let's see if my back will move.
That was a nice move.
Maybe a little lower on the face. We can see kind of, solid kind of move, moderate spin. So in principle, it moves the centre of gravity back, which adds a little bit of spin. And that one, so 12 odd launch, 2.7 on spin, slightly open on the face. I switch them around. So for me, weight back, heavy weight back actually kind of opens the face a little bit. Because you're moving the weight away from the shaft. It actually, where if you have a little bit of a drop open as you start down, it can amplify that a little bit. Whereas if I then switch them around.
Very good.
Bear with me whilst to do that.
Let me ask you a little question then while we're doing that. Kevin Phillips, can you explain the asymmetric QI 35 tour weight? I've seen how, just not why.
The asymmetric, as in kind of on the, are we talking about woods?
Asymmetric QI 35. Let us know. Can you elaborate a bit more, Kevin? Virtuoso Blacker, should the lead arm in the dominant arm on the backswing and the downswing? No, but if you're holding something, you wouldn't dominate with either arm because you're holding it with both hands. I get that question a lot, and I don't mean to be facetious, but if you're holding something with two hands, why would one dominate over the other? Surely you would want them to work together. That would be better for your body. That would be my tip. Have a go.
So 13 gram now forward, which in principle makes it less forgiving, but should make it slightly faster ball speed and a little bit lower spin. So for me, it swings better with the weight forward. I found that quite notably, but again, slightly open on the face, spin at 2.3 rather than 2.7. So it does make a tangible difference. It's why they went from 4 weights to 3 weights to 2 weights, and then maximising that difference. If you go less of a differential, so if you go 8 and 8, it doesn't matter where you put the weights, it's going to have the same spin no matter where you switch them because they're the same weight. If you were to go, for example, a 9 and a 7, you're going to see much less differential in spin depending on where you put the weight.
Very good. Gary Satterfield, hopping over to my channel. I really didn't appreciate DeChambeau insinuating it was a bad thing that Rory didn't chit-chat with him all day long. Who cares? Absolutely, Gary. Each player needs to do whatever works best for them. They're all
look at Hogan.
They're all individual businesses, and they're trying to do the best thing that they can for their business. Graham Garwood, evening gents. Would like to see yourself and Simon hit the same 40-yard draw shot on the 15th or the 80-yard chip shot. Great show. So we can have on there 40 yards, can't we?
Yeah.
Well up there.
We'll go on to the other. We'll switch it out. Whilst we answer questions, we'll switch out to the
Flanker Jack. Morning, gents. Morning, Flanker Jack. It's an evening here, but morning wherever you are. When developing your swing and trying to improve, how do you stay mentally focused when you feel it doesn't work in a bit of a rut right now? Get back to basics. Get back to working on pitch shots. Get some loft in your hands. Get 60 yards, then do the same 60-yard swing with an 8-iron and then a 9-iron or a 7-iron and a 6-iron and build it up from there. Just take your time. Don't be trying to make full-blooded swings. Just rein the energy back in and build from the ground up. Graham Jones, what would be the steel shaft similar to the Aldila green Tour Stiff Callaway version? I'm thinking KBS 105 regular. I know my current irons, KBS 120 stiff, are too heavy for me.
So the Aldila Green 105 Tour Stiff?
Yes.
So the green Aldila, if it's the one that Rahm used to use rather than the original Aldila green shaft, then it is a bit more tip balanced and stable tip. If you're talking at 105, then you could well go to something like a Modus 105 in a stiff or an X. That would be a comparable.
Very good. Doug, hi guys. Looking forward to my iron fitting on Wednesday with Nick. Simon, should I come with some ideas of what I think might work or be completely open-minded?
So be completely open-minded, but come with ideas of things you would like to try. Because I think if you're, sometimes if someone comes with ideas of things that they think might work, well, technically anything might work, but you don't want to get yourself almost already deciding what you want, because we're going to be finding out with you what works and why. But definitely, if you've tested something which you like, or you've hit a friend's club that you like, any of that information is useful for the fitter, because that at least gives us a direction, a start point. And then we'll go through the various options and find out what works, but validate why. But knowing what you like then gives us a bit of a direction as to whether it's the look on the head, a feel, a brand, we're either going to be able to match performance to what you would like it to be, or we'll find something that stand out that hopefully will make you go, you know what, if that's the best one, I'm going to go with that. So yeah, knowing what you like is useful, but sometimes what you think might work can be a little dangerous.
Well said. Should we hit one?
A little 80-yard one. I mean, there's water, there's jeopardy in play, so it's fairly. I'm going to move the strike point so that it's very slightly more like the shot that Rory would have hit, where
Like
we're
it.
68 yards. So just where the water comes in, it's slightly longer, this one. 77 yards, there we go.
Perfect, perfect.
There we go, take it back. So it's 80 yards, there we go. And there's a bit of water right and short, and there we go.
Perfect. All right.
Now,
Let's get it on.
but it's got a little bit of a backstop behind it as well.
Zip it back. John Burton asks, moved my Tour AD moved my Tour AD
Yep.
DI 5R2 driver shaft into my 3-wood QI335 Max. Only cut the buck section down to 3-wood length and no tipping. It's amazing. If I do the same for my 5-wood, how would you tip?
Generally about a half inch more.
Lovely.
Yep.
Half inch more. There you go, John.
So, based on the fact that I don't want us to chew heavily,
Right.
I'm going to play just a little quiet 56.
Are you? Got it.
And I
Last
don't want
thing
to
you
go
want-
short right.
Last thing you want is heavy chewing.
Right. Half or 56. So it's
Oh, he's played one. Well, you still got heavy chew off the backstop, didn't you?
yeah.
Go on, have another go.
Yeah, have a go.
Well,
So
I'll
what would you kind of? So I generally out of this, because these are on soft. These greens are quite soft, so spin. I'd want to flight it. I'm quite comfortable flighting it down a little bit. So if we let's just flight it down. Let's go a little left. Drive it in a little bit.
Yeah, that's nice as well. That's nice as well. Oh, lovely.
Mind you, if that was in real life in the air, I'd have been sucking up, hoping it was going to carry.
Yeah.
Nip that a bit better than I thought.
What loft have we got on here?
55 degrees.
55. 55. And how far did you say it was?
78.
78. Okay. Means nothing.
See, what I like about the way you play that is how connected body rotation, arms are. Oh, well judged. That's the bit that, for me, I think good pictures of the ball have really good connection in terms of body turn and arms.
Yeah.
Because then the face is nice and quiet.
Yeah, I don't really, as you know, I don't really struggle for having too much spin. It's not something that's in my repertoire. I need a little bit harder. Don't think I hit that quite hard enough still. I think that's a bit too short. Oh no.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, see, that's just that nice quiet landing, whereas I always get a little bit stuck when trap it and then end up ripping.
So when Nick and I went to Q school at PJ Catalunya, the greens were so soft, like 5 irons were backing up 20 feet.
Oh,
It was horrid.
Yeah,
It was just horrid. It couldn't get anywhere
and they
near
stick a pin
it.
at the back.
Yeah, couldn't get anywhere near it. So spin can be a real headache
Everyone
for some
loves to
people.
see it ripping, and then you've got to to be positive enough to carry it beyond the pin to come back.
Absolutely, yeah, not nice. Virtuoso Blacker, really enjoy all your content. That's really appreciated. Thank you. Aim for the bushes, still love that one. Evening, gents. Thoughts on the Mini Driver 280 GT? Are they any good if you struggle with a 3-wood off the deck?
If you struggle with 3-wood off the deck, interesting one. They're very much a 2-wood, so they are designed to be used both ways around. Actually, that's very interesting. There wasn't a lot of talk about Mini Drivers at Augusta. I thought there would be, but there wasn't.
Right.
Didn't really hear anyone talk about it, which is quite a surprise. Because I thought a few people would be using them. Off the deck, the bigger head will work for some players off the ground, but the stronger loft, the 13-degree loft, might make them hard to flight. So they're generally designed for someone with a lot of speed, or that creates a load of flight and a load of spin. But that's why they're out that loft, is to produce that stronger flight to work as a teeing off and a fairway club. But I see as a fairway club it more being for the high speed player.
Very good. Mr. Gillam, is that Gillam Suarez? Hi guys, KBS Tour Light new versus True Temper MPH 95.
So Tour Light's a little bit of a higher balance. So the True Temper 95 utilises the tip a little bit more. So it narrows a little bit quicker in the midsection, a little bit of a softer tip, whereas it's more of a graduated step pattern on the KBS. I mean, KBS Tour 90, which is now the Tour Light, is a really smooth shaft. You might feel a bit more kick at the bottom of the True Temper, but the KBS Tour Light will swing slightly lighter from a balance point of view.
Leo asks, hello gents, currently overcut my Ventus 7X in my driver. Went to test the Diamana 73X and was helping me hit a draw. Is it common to see a change in flight like that from a shaft change?
Yes, because what it's doing, the reason it's changed is the Ventus Black, if it's the original version, is heavier. So that's a 77, 78 gram in the stiff 2X, whereas the Diamana, was it Blue Board? I think you said.
It was a Diamana 73X.
So both the blue and the white are less tip heavy, but they are lighter. They're down at the bottom end of the 70s. So you've lost about 4 or 5 grams in dead weight. That could make it easier to square through, but the fact that they're lighter and the Diamanas are lighter and swing a little less tip heavy, that also makes it easier to get the club head through the ball. So what you're using the shaft for is, they're both great shafts, but one suits a certain delivery pattern and the other suits another delivery pattern. So if you're overfading the Ventus Black, it's because it's too tip heavy, it's getting stuck behind, and you're then cutting across it, and the head's dropping in and getting late. And the Diamana there's less resistance, so you can get the toe through the ball naturally a little bit squarer, and that's why it's changed the shot shape. It is not because of how the shaft bends.
There you go. Graham Jones, Stuart, what do you think of getting my new golfer girlfriend to use a baseball grip due to weak arms and hands? Not a fan. A good grip should create strength, not weakness. So if she finds the club too heavy, it's because her grip is incorrect. Bama number 1, great show as always, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks again for all that you do for this show. You are super welcome.
Kind.
Super
Thank
welcome.
you for your input.
Mark Rowley, hello fellas. What and whose content do you watch on YouTube? I'm finding myself watching more and more creator content and less TV golf. It's more relatable. Peter Finch's channel is a thumbs up. Do you watch any?
I actually don't watch any. I'm not a YouTube watcher, other than our own content, obviously, and some Stuart's and Lewis's. But realistically, I just don't consume my golf stuff that way. I know James just watches YouTube. When I get home, I actually kind of literally have time for dinner and pretty much go to bed. But yeah, I think it's fascinating how the influencer stuff has broadened golf's viewership. I'm not that interested in it. I don't. If I want to watch golf, I want to watch tournament golf and major championship golf and the best players. I'm really not fussed about someone dicking around on a golf course.
No,
I can do that on my weekend myself.
Yeah, fair dues. I watch. I don't watch any golf content at all. That's instructional. I might watch a bit of Grant Horvat and a bit of Phil Mickelson. I find their stuff quite interesting. I think you're getting great golf and stories and characters. And I think apart from the Masters this weekend, that golf still offers up superb golf to watch because you've got shot tracer and all that kind of stuff, and you're getting stories and you're seeing their personality. So I think that there's going to be more and more of that going forwards. But outside of that, I watched a lot of F1 stuff. What else? Always learning how to create better content for my own channel. So that's how I use YouTube as a bit of a resource.
And things for us, we're in golf all day, every day. And actually, I don't necessarily, other than tournament, want to go and watch it when I get home. If there's something, like one of our guys, Nick Trulman, he watches everything. So I know if there's something I need to watch, he will tell me about it.
Yeah. Good to have that.
Because we do have that kind of, he knows that if there's something he thinks I should watch, tell me about it and I'll watch it. But yeah, I would go home and talk to my wife.
Yeah. Mark Rowley, hello fellas. No, he's just asked that one. Steve Dooley, loving your instruction results with irons and hybrids, straightest shots I've ever hit. Driver distance backswing is too short. How can I lengthen my backswing for more yards? Get yourself a metronome. Set your metronome on 55 or 60 beats per second and make the first beep the takeaway and the second beep the top of the backswing. If you set it at 55, that will make your backswing longer because you'll have to have more time and you'll have to keep on going until you hear the second beep, and then you'll make a longer backswing. Once you get comfortable with that and you can make a contact, you'll be off and running. Hope that helps.
Other way, mobility. Then
Yeah.
you may have a physical restriction.
Yeah.
You might not have lower back mobility.
Yeah.
Physical mobility will get you more swing length.
Yeah, I slightly question that because I see golfers that have short backswings because of the anxiousness over a shot more than
true, but a major factor in how far you can turn is how far you can turn. So if you sit at a desk all day and you're not doing stretching, you're not doing mobility work, you're going to have a shorter swing.
We'll agree to differ.
I think it's a fact.
Yeah, that's right. We can have difference of opinion. It's good, right?
Absolutely.
So we'll go Norwegian Warhound again. Fantastic. Been a rough winter, boys, but I'm healthy. This is great to hear.
Yes.
Enjoyed and swinging the sticks again. Nice to see you, both of you. It's nice to have you with us, Norwegian. Daniel Winterbottom, hey gents, loving the show. How does the Oban Revenge compare to the Ventus or Hazardous range?
Okay, so the Revenge is a very green shaft, but it's very much about mid-launch, mid-spin. It's a really smooth profile. So if you're putting it next to the sort of Ventus range, it sits sort of between the red and the blue. It's not as stable as the blue and low spin, but it's not as kicky in the tip as the red. So it sits kind of as a hybrid between those two. And Hazardous range, you'd probably put it again, it's a more stable version of the red. But balance point wise, sort of slightly below mid, pretty neutral, but very smooth shaft.
Very smooth shaft.
Very smooth shaft.
It's like a fine wine.
It is, yeah. It's a long finish to it.
Nice. Jasper L. Thank you, James, for keeping me on point with my questions, by the way. I missed one out there and James tapped on my shoulder. Jasper L. Looking to blend a 4 and 5 iron with a Srixon ZX7S outside of Srixon. Which other options would you recommend trying?
So it depends what you want to achieve, which sounds going to cop out. So I've gone to a P770, my forerun, to get more launch. So if you pick it and you want a bit more flight, then the P770 is a great head. It doesn't overly spin it, but you're going to see launch angle go up. If you're, let me think, so that's one, but that's maybe a little bit smaller. If you wanted a head that's slightly bigger, I mean, look, ZXi5 is still a very good option, but you might have to weaken loft slightly. T200 wouldn't be a bad option for that either. And just thinking across, and possibly even something like the MP245. That wouldn't be a bad option either.
Graham Jones asks, Simon, do you think you should get your swing strike to a good level before paying for a club fitting, or am I just being a mean senior?
So if your technique is that far off that it requires remedial work to get some consistency, if you've got major swing issues and technical flaws, then a lesson to understand what you've got to do to improve it and doing a bit of work on that then means that the fitter isn't then going to have to guess what you're trying to do. Even if they understand what the coach is trying to get you to do, you can kind of build, an experienced fitter will be able to build that into what they're working towards. The answer is your clubs might be causing you to misstrike and get lack of consistency. So a fitting can highlight whether the clubs can do something or whether what you've got is absolutely fine, just working your swing. So I would say actually, yes, you are being a little bit of meanie on it because actually the best thing you can do might well be to get the fitting.
Very good. There's over 120 of you watching this evening. Please give us a like and a share. We'd really appreciate it. It helps the channel. Gary Satterfield, when Simon was talking about flighting down his shot earlier, is flighting down a shot just more a pull of the handle and less release? What do you feel?
No, because if I pull on the handle with a wedge, of which I have been wanted to do in the past, and it's horrible. If I pull on the handle, I'm sticking the leading edge in. So actually, for a higher flighted shot, I'm setting up more neutrally, and I'm rotating, kind of sort of shallowing out a little bit to get underneath it. And if I want to flight it down, I'm setting up slightly more in front, but I'm just staying slightly more on top of it. It's one of those things that I think you said this before. What I feel and what I do might actually not directly relate, but I'm basically just trying to cover the impact a little bit more and maybe catch it slightly steeper in terms of delivery to knock the launch angle down a bit. That will result in more spin, but at least it comes out a bit more forwards. But that's the feel that I'm working to.
David Hammond, I think watching too much on the tube can lead to confusion with conflicting advice. I think you're absolutely right. Just stick with Precision Golf and good golf coaching. You won't go wrong. Graham Jones found a Q-Star tour ball and played 5 or 6 great rounds with it. Why would it suit me so well?
So the Q-Star Tour is a lower compression ball, but with a cover more like a premium ball. So it's kind of like an AVX in that respect. So it may well be that it spins a little bit less with your full swings, with your irons, and that might give you a bit of a stronger flight. It might be that the slightly softer compression, what softer compression does, if you're offline, it squashes it a little bit more and it stays on the face a bit longer, which actually means, ironically, it doesn't actually grip it as much. You get a bit less side spin, which is why Phil Mickelson went to the Chrome Soft. It's one of the reasons he played that ball. So those 2 reasons in particular may well be why it suits a little bit better.
Lou Mendoza, great surname. Hi guys, thanks for replying to my tipping comment on the Axiom shaft video. What I still have concern about is that on my Ventus wood shafts, I still have tipping on those.
So if you tip a Ventus, you're making it softer because the Velocore material is what stabilizes the tip. It's one of the few shafts that if you shorten the tip section, it plays softer. Now, convention is to tip shafts to stiffen them up because you're shortening the parallel section. But on a Ventus, the last thing you want to do if you want to stiffen it is tip it.
Very good. Kevin Phillips, sorry guys, the weight in the garage of the QI35 Tour fairway is asymmetric this year according to TM Marketing. I'm not sure why. This was the question earlier.
This is the fairway. Did you say fairway wood? QI Tour fairway.
Let me just get the head. No, yeah, I know exactly what you mean by that. Yeah.
Okay, he's off and running. Scott Stanley, if I'm too upright in my irons, should I play my wedges the same or flatter?
Normally the wedges, you go slightly flatter, but it isn't the same for every single player. But normally wedges do go a little bit flatter because of the shorter shots. You get a little less down delivery, tend to work the hands a little bit lower, tend to sit into it in bunker shots a little bit more. And for more loft, if you're upright, the face actually looks left. So that's why for wedges, you often flatten them off a little bit.
Very good.
So, QI 35 Tour fairway wood. If I take that back weight and take it out, what you have with this is a biased weight. So it's not even weight across, it's heavier one side than the other. So if you put the weight in that way round, it's heavier at the back. If you put the weight in that way round, it's heavier at the front. So actually, rather than it just sliding back and forth and moving the whole mass forward, you can flip it and really send the mass forward or go back the other way and really send the mass back. So you've got 4 positions essentially you can dial the mass and the spin into, which is why that's what they mean by asymmetric.
Very good. Nick Walters, we've got 5 minutes. Simon, you say Miura heads are normally heavier than others. Is there anything to do to offset that? Would love to try the new TC202s.
So people might say, oh, use a lighter shaft or use a heavier grip or whatever. The problem is that by doing that, you're throwing off the weight to try to make it work. Using a lighter shaft just means that the head weight becomes even more proportionate in the overall weight of the club, so it can get separated. And if you've got a heavier shaft and you whack a load of weight in the grip, you're making the dead weight heavier to try to make it feel lighter. Ultimately, if a heavy head doesn't suit you, then unfortunately the Miuras are going to be an expensive mistake. For me, it's a big source of frustration because we'd love to sell more of them and they can make them lighter, but they're making them to more Japanese standard weights, and I would like to see the international models made to more of an international weight.
Daniel Winterbottom.
But the 202s are lovely heads.
I recently went for retrofit on fairway woods, went from Hazardous Red to Oban Revenge, went from fade to draw and more consistent ball flight. Why would this be?
The weight and the bounce point of the shaft suit your pattern of delivery. So what happens is that the club and you sync up, so therefore the strike gets more stable, but also it allows you to free up through the ball more rather than having to manage the impact position, and that will be the reason why you'll get a shot pattern difference. Why yours has gone from a fade to a draw will be different than someone going to a draw to a fade, for example, but the club just allows you to move and collect the ball rather than have to kind of compensate and try to manage the strike. Leo,
thanks for the in-depth answer, Simon. It's a WB73X compared to the OG Ventus Black 7X. Just ordered the Ping G440 LST9, turned down an 8 with the WB73X, and it was unbelievably good.
Yeah, so 3 or 4 grams lighter, more even balance, just as stable in the tip. Really good shaft, that. Yeah.
Slytown, I'm considering going lighter from 130 grams to 120 grams. Do you find most decent ball strikers get more on top of the ball with lighter shafts? I've worked hard the last year or so to become a fader, not a draw.
So the caveat is it depends who the player is, and it really is a case of that. Some players need that extra weight to be able to kind of use the weight and drive down and cover it, and others, heavy weight drops behind, and then the last thing you're able to do is to be able to get the handle forward and cover it because you're then having to flick at it. So for a lot of players now, 130 is just too heavy. We fit that weight very, very rarely. But going to 120, 10 grams less might allow you and the club essentially to keep moving together, naturally get the handle in front, and you can see your shaft leans there, and then you're covering it. If it gets heavy, it gets behind, and then you're going to have to flip at it. So that's where it might help you.
Mark Howard, hi. Got fit for Forged Tech X irons. We'll make this the last question, then we'll do that 40-yard draw, 5-iron. Got fit for Forged Tech X irons or P790s when fitted recently. Both hit well. I need them 1/2 inch longer and 2 up. Finding hard to source secondhand. Any other brands similar to those I can look at?
So Forged Tech X and 790s. I mean, last year's 790s you might be able to find. The Cobras are likely to be very heavy, so be careful of those. If you're going longer than standard, the head weights are a little bit stronger. I mean, you can get something like a Titleist T200. They do, if you're going upright 2 degrees up and longer, then they do a slightly lighter head weight as well for that. That might be a pretty good head. Certainly anything with that kind of hollow body construction, most brands do it now, but I would say, yeah, T200, paying an i530, that could be a good option for you as well.
All right. Hook a 5-iron.
Right.
We've got the curve in the bottom left-hand corner, haven't we?
Let's just see. Well, let's go. Select a target. What are we wanting? It's going to have to be. Let's go that one.
There you go. There you go.
Well, again, we've got to hook it around that tree. Even better.
Ah, wonderful.
So do you want to start it? I'll aim it at the right edge, so we've got at least an aim at it.
Okay.
And if curve, yeah.
Curve, yeah, brilliant. 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 What a lovely shot to have.
Especially when your back's been stood doing nothing.
Yeah.
Excuses in already. Oh, and it's turning round, turning round, turning round. Pretty good, sir.
How much bend has that got?
And online as well.
34 yards of hook. Come on.
Very good.
Come on.
I like the
yeah
at the end of it as well.
Hey, get some whip on it. Get some whip on it. 34 yards to beat. It's got to have some flight on it, though.
Yeah.
That's the trouble with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, anyone can hook it, but it's got to have some flight on it.
Oh, it's thin.
Thin.
Ow. And again,
Thin.
one they don't say, you take all the shape out of it, and your fingers just are numb for about a week.
Well, we had some fun with it. Hopefully, do you have another go?
9 yards. I
Go
remember one
on,
go. That was
go on.
awful. Absolutely awful.
Wants to have another go.
Can't finish. Can't have that one.
It's got some flight on it. Has it got some hook on it?
Just, it's a
It's a
strongish draw rather than a hook.
How much bend have you got?
17. For
17
someone who's
yards.
struggled with a hook for years, I'm actually quite glad I got to work at it.
17 yards. Well,
Pitiful.
hopefully you enjoyed our little tete-a-tete this Monday evening, talking about all things Masters, golf coaching and obviously club fitting. What have we got next up? We've got, what's it, the US Open next? USPGA.
Yeah, PGA,
Yeah.
Quail Hollow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonder who plays well there.
He does super well. He's won the PGA Tour event there and he's won the US Open there, right?
So US Open was congressional.
Sorry, congressional.
Yeah. Kiowa and Valhalla is PGA wins.
Smarty pants. Well, all things going
Easter
super.
Monday next Monday, so we won't.
We won't be
doing next
here.
Monday.
We won't be here. We'll be up to our eyeballs
We'll be in church.
Yeah.
Well, our church golf course.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully you enjoyed our show. As usual, we really appreciate your participation and all of your questions. We've got loads of content coming out on the channel. Check out Precision Golf's YouTube channel and hopefully mine, Good Golf Coaching. There's always content coming out every week. And so go check those out, give them a like and a share. And hopefully we've made your Monday evening just a little bit more enjoyable. Get to bed early. The Masters has kept you up all weekend long, and what a champion it's been. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.